All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's your good friend Plausible here, and I'm back in action with another look at another movie that came out recently. And let's just get this over with, shall we? Batman versus Superman. It sucks. It's just as bad as all you've been hearing. As a matter of fact, if you've been around, you know that everyone and his brother has been complaining about this movie. Very few people actually liked it, and even those who did like it gave it just a passing grade at best. And why is that? Why is this meeting of such epic superheroes the one thing everyone has been wanting since Batman came out in 1989, if you can believe that? Then what took so long? Well, for one thing, they didn't always want it to be Batman versus Superman. They wanted it to be a meeting. Batman and Superman are in a comic known as the world's finest. And in a way, that's what people wanted. They wanted the team up to happen. But after a while, team ups got a little old, and people decided let's have our superheroes fighting each other at the whim of some villain or for some reason or something like that. If you really want to see a good versus movie, or excuse me, show, watch Daredevil Season 2. Okay? Watch Daredevil versus Punisher. Now, there's an epic battle right there for you. As a matter of fact, it happens in the very first episode. The Punisher's going after this one bad guy. Daredevil shows up, and the fight was epic. It was good. But the whole build-up and everything to it was also good. This one, forced. Very, very forced. I don't want to say too much about it. This is a spoiler-free review, so I just want you to understand Batman versus Superman. It starts off really rough with all these images and all these people just flying at you. You start off, you're here with Batman, then you're here with Lex Luthor, then you're there with Clark Kent, then you're back with Batman, then you're going to go to Clark Kent, then you're back with Lex Luthor, then you're with Batman again, then you're with Superman again. And the real problem with this movie, that the number one thing everyone is complaining about, even though there are lots to complain about. But my biggest hangup is that the characters really didn't represent the characters they were supposed to. Superman wasn't as good or as Superman usually is. Batman is too dark and brutal and just too angry to be Batman. So it didn't really connect like I wanted it to. And the build-up just wasn't there. I guess in a way we were kind of disappointed because we knew they were heading in that direction. And after, an hour, 90 minutes, we're like, guys, let's get to the fight already. Let's make this happen. But instead it's, no, we're just going to keep the building, the tension, the, elements and stuff like that. One of the things this movie is guilty of is throwing in too much stuff. Now a lot of it played out, but a lot of it was left hanging and, it's just forgotten. It's like, oh, we're going to frame Superman. No, let's just forget that subplot. We're going to blow up this building with Superman in it. Well, let's just forget that subplot. And let's just move on, It's like they wanted to go a direction, but they didn't flesh it out. And that's the problem. They had this layer, which was Batman versus Superman. Then they added on this layer, which is Lex Luthor. Then they added on another layer, which is Wonder Woman. Then they added on another layer, which is introducing the Justice League. And then when we finally get to the fight is good. I'm going to give the movie that. The fight is good. And if they would have really ended with the fight, I would have been happy. If they would have ended the movie around that point, I would have been glad. But like in many situations, they're like, no, we've had one big battle. Let's have another epic battle. We're tired. We're exhausted. We don't want another battle, but they're going to give it to us anyway. And boy, are we just not happy about it. The movie has not been doing that well, not doing as well as Man of Steel, because here's the ultimate truth. Okay? DC learned their lesson a long time ago. Well, not long enough ago for most people, but for a long time ago with a movie called Batman and Robin. If you ever watch some of the worst movies ever lists, it's right down there with Catwoman and Supergirl and stuff like that. So when you see Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel coming out, they don't want to make the jokes they made before. They don't want to have the fun they did before because it looks stupid sometimes. They decide to go the really dark route. and for that works for some people, but it doesn't work for everyone, and you can take only so much of this darkness. Batman vs Superman was 2.5 hours. It really would have been fine at just 2. You could have removed some of the plot points that you added in and fleshed out more of what you were doing, and just made a better movie, you know? But the problem is, it's not a movie all by itself. Whenever you make a movie like Batman vs Superman, you're supposed to make a movie about Batman versus Superman. You're supposed to make this movie about these characters and their conflict. And one of the best parts of this movie, we'll give it a good part, it's when Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. The tension between those two, because they're not just there to meet in general, they want to talk about the other's heroes' ideologies. How Batman versus Superman works. And Clark had some very strong words for Batman, and Batman had some very strong words for Clark. But then they were interrupted, and this is the pace of this movie. You start with something good, you're going to interrupt it all of a sudden with something stupid, you know? And if you saw it on the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. You talk about when Lex Luthor comes up and says, "Wow, I love bringing people together." Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. Okay, I get that Lex Luthor would know who Bruce Wayne is, would care about Bruce Wayne, but Clark Kent is a junior reporter. He's someone who's just starting out with the Daily Planet. He's not even 2 years on the job, and already he's supposed to be like this big celebrity? No, he's not. You know, he's just not. Now, to be fair about Batman versus Superman, there were moments of levity in this movie. I gotta give it that. You know, they did have some moments where they tried to bring in the humor. They really did. They didn't make it all dark. I don't like when people say it was all dark, like 100% brooding and all that. It wasn't. They did try to bring in some levity. It didn't work because the jokes weren't very funny and they didn't really apply to the movie. There's this one scene with Perry White, very funny, all by himself. He comes out and he says a funny line and he leaves. You could have cut that whole scene out and this movie would have been exactly the same because the scene, had no purpose to the overall plot or to the overall movie. And that's Batman vs. Superman. So if you're one of those people who has not seen this movie, and unlike movies like Star Wars or Captain America or stuff like that, by the time I get these reviews out, everyone's seen them. But not many people are watching these movies right now. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't. Okay? Do yourself a favor, read the comic books. Go to like Best Buy or Netflix or something, and get the movie World's Finest with Kevin Conroy as the voice of Batman. And that Batman meeting Superman is hilarious and great and just suspenseful. Great twist. It's where the Joker meets up with Lex Luthor, okay? And they have this incredible scene. And the whole thing was good. Yeah, but then again, if you know me, if you've seen some of my other reviews of the animated movies that have come out from DC and Marvel, those do gangbusters. Those are awesome. I'm willing to say, chuck the whole movie idea. Let's just focus on TV shows because that's where they seem to really have the magic. Why do TV shows have the magic? Well, very simply, they can take their time. They don't have to cram everything into one movie. You know, they don't have to cram everything into 1 hour on a TV show. You can say, okay, let's just have this one little adventure, then this next little adventure, then this next little adventure. So the TV shows work for superheroes. Movies, not so much. Okay, that's my opinion. What did you think? I'm curious to know. If you really liked Batman vs. Superman, please tell me the best part about it. If you are going to do the thing you hated about Batman vs. Superman, though, you're only allowed one, kids. You're only allowed one, two, maybe two things. But, you could fill that. I could fill a whole vlog over what was wrong with it. As a matter of fact, I think I'll do that right now. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. We'll see you at the theaters.